from North Carolina.
Bang that drum, baby. Bang that drum.
The NFL season is back. We have football action this week. I'm excited. My cohorts here are excited. We're all in our NFL gear, excited for the season to start. Welcome to the next episode of the Joes on the Pros podcast, where, well, we're going to be talking a lot of NFL, but this episode is going to be strictly football, both college and NFL. And we are ready to talk about it. Are you guys excited for this upcoming NFL season?
Woo!
It's gonna be
You sound okay. Brendan is not excited.
I don't even have a team shirt. I just got what I got available.
Well, okay. Well, explain
ready
your rooting interest this year.
Okay, I live around and near Chiefs fans, so I am nominally a Chiefs fan. But above all else, I'm a fan of players, and my favorite player in the NFL is Marcus Mariota. And so this year I am nominally a Falcons fan, and I will be wearing Falcons apparel every time the NFL discussion comes up from moving forward on this show.
Once you get apparel for the
Yes,
Falcons.
I put in my order. It's not here yet.
Are you gonna do like costume changes? So if we're talking baseball, you're rocking Mariners here, and then a costume change in between, and then you're gonna throw out.
I can do that. Yeah, I can just do that. I mean, we've already had a striptease on this show once, so I guess I can do that now.
Don't worry.
Oh,
Don't worry. That was a one-time thing. I'm not having it.
If
happening.
you don't know what he's talking about, please go back and watch episode 1.
That was a fun episode.
Well, and it's funny because you're saying you're a nominal Falcons fan, and you have two other guys in here who are fans of NFC South teams.
Die-hard NFC South fans.
Die-hard NFC South teams.
It works out.
I mean,
way.
I've got.
Now I get to have a rivalry
football
this
behind
year.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, as you can tell by the apparel we're wearing, I'm a Panthers fan. The reason why I am is because my dad grew up just outside of Charlotte, so he became a Panthers fan when the expansion team came to Charlotte. So I grew up watching Panthers games with my dad. Aiden is he's going to be a fan of Florida teams, and so he's going to jump on the bandwagon that there is over there.
Hey, I was born and raised into Bucks fandom. All right.
Yeah,
My
I
dad
know.
has
I
been
was
a
messing
Bucks
with
fan
you.
since he's born. I'm a Bucks fan, born in blood.
Now, the funny thing is, before the Panthers, my dad was actually a Dolphins fan. So,
You know, people say, "Oh, if you're a bandwagon Bucks fan." I sat through Josh Freeman, Raheem Morris, Dirk Cutter. Like I can continue. Greg Schiano. Like I will keep going down the list of crap I had to sit through as a Bucks fan till I got to this point.
If
So
I'm
you
not
know what?
mistaken, the Bucks are still the worst franchise by winning percentage among the 32 NFL teams.
You are correct.
yeah, so they've had a lot of bad years. At least you guys don't have the long, what was it, that Browns QB jersey that just kept getting longer and longer. Yeah. And it's
Also,
getting
shout
even
out
longer
to,
now that they have went from
Kansas State
Baker to
State
Watson to.
quarterback Josh Freeman.
Yeah.
Hey, we had Josh Freeman, we had Josh McCown, we had Ryan Fitzpatrick, we had Jameis Winston.
Everyone had Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's not saying anything.
Frankly,
and everyone had Josh McCown.
That's, well, fair. And then JR repping his Cincinnati area fandom.
Hooday!
Made a impressive run to the Super Bowl. I was rooting for y'all in the Super Bowl.
I think everyone was.
Yeah, just because they were the underdog story. So
Yeah.
they were the team that people didn't even expect to make the playoffs, much less a Super Bowl when the season started last year.
Joe Burrow is the coolest quarterback in football, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Joe Cool.
You want
Joe
to talk about suffering through some tough times. That's
for sure.
A long suffering Bengals fan can tell you, but we kept pounding and we made it all the way to the Super Bowl just last year.
Yep.
You mean Andy Dalton, the redheaded stepchild who couldn't win a playoff game to save his life?
I always liked the Red Rifle. I mean, he came up. He was in the big games.
He was
but,
good, but he was never a superstar.
Hey, but he was the most consistent 18 to 24 point NFL fantasy quarterback each week.
This is fair.
You could count on him for 18 to 24 points.
And you want consistency out of your quarterback. With my Panthers and Cam Newton, you didn't know what the heck you were going to get.
I mean,
With the Bucks and Jameis Winston, he was either going to throw for 500
a relatively
yards.
consistent fantasy quarterback, but he also in 2014 had a 0 passer rating in a game. So
Who was that?
Dalton.
Dalton?
I think it was might have been against the Browns.
Yeah,
think
that was a tough time.
You talk about inconsistency. You have Jameis Winston throwing for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, or 200 yards and 4 interceptions.
The only member of the prestigious 30-30 club.
And not the fun one in baseball.
And apparently...
the 30-30 club is just Jameis Winston, and he might be joining himself there again this year as a full-time starter with the Saints.
I don't know. He's been throwing pretty well ever since he actually got eye surgery and fixed his vision.
Finally. Jesus.
And then he's not on the Bucks anymore. He's over on the Saints, a rival for you guys. Anyway, let's hold off on the NFL talk because we have some interesting stuff to talk about when it comes to our predictions. Mr. Coin Flip down there. If you missed that one, go back. We predicted some of the big games of the opening weekend of college football, and here they are. Yeah, it shows how much I know about college football. So, and it's the funny thing, I didn't even realize that I picked the opposite of Aiden for every single game, but it ended up that I went 0-4 and Aiden went 4-0. Now, to my credit, I did say that I would have picked Georgia if it wasn't for the fact that we had, like, my wife and I had the rivalry where we were picking teams across the Power 5 conferences, and my Pac-12 team was Oregon and her SEC team was Georgia. So I'm on the. I actually looked back at the episode. I made sure I'm quoting myself correctly. I said on the record that I thought Georgia was going to win the game, but I'm picking Oregon because of my fandom. So, and Aiden correctly said that this game was going to be the biggest score discrepancy. And that was definitely the case. But
Yikes.
Coin Flip Brendan, true to form, was 50-50 for 2-2.
Yep.
And then JR also was 2-2. And then Aiden, of course, swept it with 4-0. So
How does it feel to be worse than a coin?
it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. But again, it shows how much I know about the actual teams in college football. I watch it for fun. I don't get as in-depth into how good teams are as I do in the NFL. So hopefully my NFL predictions are a lot better than my college football predictions. So to that point, let's see if I can get any worse, because now we are going to talk about some games that are happening this week. So we have 4 potential matchups here. Well, not potential. They are matchups, but 3 of these are ranked v. ranked, and then one of them is just an interesting game, and that's going to be our first one, where we've got Alabama going to Texas, and Alabama's still...
Why are we discussing this game?
Because it's Texas. Texas is at least a high-profile team and not some D2 or non-FBS team.
Everyone together.
45-0. They'll lose 45-7.
Hold on, guys. Everyone together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Alabama.
Okay, so we'll just...
No,
Here,
hold on. No. Hold on. Brennan, you can't.
Oh, I will.
You're not allowed.
Okay,
No, you have to do the coin flip.
Fine. Okay. This is Alabama.
Heads,
Alabama.
Heads, Alabama wins. Tails, Texas loses, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I will point out that I will be rooting the heck for Texas because Texas is my wife's Big 12 team. So,
Well, for now.
yeah. What's that?
For now.
For now. Until they lose to Alabama.
Till
Okay.
No. I mean, like, for now, they're in the Big 12.
Oh, well, yeah. We're not even talking about conference realignment. All right, moving on. That was easy. Tennessee and Pitt, the newly instated into the top 25 Tennessee. Was Pitt ranked before this week? I don't think they were.
Yep.
They were? Okay.
They were.
So we've got Tennessee and we've got Pitt. I'll go first because it's an easy choice for me because my SEC team is actually Tennessee that I'm rooting for. I just like the history of Tennessee. I like the unique color scheme in Tennessee. So I am a Tennessee fan for the SEC, so I'm picking Tennessee in this game.
You know, I love Tennessee's music, Rocky Top, when the whole stadium is singing that. But you have to go to a place like Pitt, and I think Pitt really showed what they were made of against a really tough West Virginia team who honestly got kind of unlucky. I really think Pitt brings a lot, and I think that Tennessee is one of those teams that I look at and go, yeah, they're in the SEC. Yeah, they're okay, but I don't really see how they're ranked right now. And I think that it's going to be a close game, but I think Pitt pulls it out in the end.
All right, so by that measure, I'm going to now be 1-1 for the week, and because Aiden's going to go 2-0.
All right.
All right, coin flip.
Pitt, Tennessee. We're going Pitt.
All right, JR, what you got?
I've already proven that this is a foolproof strategy for going 500.
It worked better than me.
I have such a hard time following up the coin flip. That's just impossible to follow.
We'll change up the order. We won't go top to bottom every time.
But last week Pitt did they pulled it out against West Virginia, but that's a pretty emotional rivalry game to start the season off with. And Tennessee has shown that they've got some firepower, and I think Pitt's just primed maybe a little bit for a letdown after that emotional win. So I think I'm going to go with Tennessee, just having a little too much offense on their side for the Panthers.
All right, sounds good. Well, we are split on that one. Next up, we've got I don't have the ranks in front of me. Number 20 Kentucky versus number 12 Florida. Florida coming off of based on the rankings, the upset over Utah coming into their home field. At the time, Utah was 7 and Florida was unranked. So they go from unranked to 12, which is a pretty big jump. Taking on number 20 Kentucky, back in the swamp. Let's go reverse order. JR, you go first.
So in this game, they're both two colleges that I absolutely can't stand. So this is
pick your poison.
This is a total Sophie's choice moment, but I think it sounds like Kentucky is still going to be without their star running back Chris Rodriguez. He was suspended week 1 for a DUI over the offseason. Seems like he's not going to play again. And Florida really impressed me with that Utah win. I really was not sure they could come out and play that well right off the bat. So I think I'm going to go with the Gators. They've only lost once to Kentucky since 1979 in Florida, and I don't see that changing here in this one.
All right. I'll go next. I'll just mix up the order just to throw you guys off. I underestimated the power of the swamp in week 1. I picked Utah to go in there and win. I will not underestimate it again. I'm going Florida over Kentucky in this matchup, mostly based on home field advantage, honestly, because I think Kentucky can play well, but I just don't think they're going to be able to overcome the home field advantage.
I'll go next. I'll take the next one. I said it last week that Florida was going to impress people. I said it last week that the swamp is a tough place to play. I said last week that Billy Napier's system was going to shock a lot of people. And you know what? It did it. Anthony Richardson played his best football I think we've ever seen him play in the quarterback position. There are already people talking about him in the Heisman race. Like, that's how much, obviously, week 1, it doesn't mean a lot. But I
saw a lot of comparison to Cam Newton, honestly.
True. And where did Cam Newton start his collegiate career?
Yeah, but that's not where he was known for playing.
True. But still. But my point is that I think that the University of Florida, they showed a lot more on defense than I expected. University of Kentucky played Ball State. No, they played Miami of Ohio. And they looked rough in the first half against Miami of Ohio. So in my opinion, I don't see how Kentucky pulls this one off. I think they're an overrated SEC team. I think Florida handles Kentucky in the swamp and sends some Wildcats home very upset.
Since Florida's logo is a gator head, heads is going to be Florida, and tails will be Kentucky.
Yeah, Wildcats have tails, right?
That's true. Well, I do have the mascot here, so
there you go.
I think that's a sign of who. I think that's a sign of who you have to pick.
It is a sign. It's going to be Kentucky.
There we go.
Pulling off the upset.
The cat comes in. The cat makes the pick.
It does.
All right. And then our last matchup of up for discussion is number 9 Baylor versus number 21 BYU. Aiden, why don't you give us the rundown of how they performed in week 1?
So, going back to last week's matchups, you had a team in, hold on, let me find it just one more time. I want to make sure I get you exact scores. Baylor played Albany. Baylor won 69-10 against Albany.
As you would expect.
As you would expect against that. And then BYU played the University of South Florida and handled USF 50-21.
That's a little bit more of a tougher matchup than Albany, I'd say.
USF is a tougher matchup, you know? But I think knowing what Baylor brings to the table, even though they're having to go to Utah, I still think that Baylor's the better team in this matchup. I think Baylor offense is going to continue scoring a lot of points as they do every year. I think the defense will show up, and I just don't know if BYU has enough oomph and firepower to win. I'm going to go Baylor.
All right, JR.
You're going to have to drop that down there, Andrew. You put it in your column.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Maybe that's a spoiler for Andrew's pick.
I wish I didn't have I wish I had a background for this logo because it's blending into the baseball field.
The one you can't read, that's Baylor.
That's Baylor. Yeah, I think this game is going to be a tremendous matchup between a couple of really solid teams, that are going to be in the same conference next season. But this is a non-conference battle there. It's going to be a late Saturday night game out in Provo. This is one I could go back and forth on, but I think the game means maybe a little bit more to BYU to really prove themselves in a spot like this. And being at home, I think I'm going to go with the Cougars there. Go with BYU.
All right. For me, I always feel like Baylor is one of those teams that you're like, how in the world are they ranked this high? And like, what do you know about this team? They're not really a team that's talked about very much for being a team in the top 10. But I think that's just part of how they play is that they were like, we're okay with not being in the national spotlight. We're just going to go out and do our business. And I think they go out and do their business against BYU and take the win.
Heads is going to be Baylor. Tails is going to be BYU. BYU, Cats again.
There you go. I think the coin has a bias.
Well,
all right.
When he's sitting here, yes.
All right, so there you have it. We have our predictions. All of us took Alabama, even though I'm rooting for Texas.
You learned your
we have
lesson, right?
What's that?
You learned your lesson from last week.
I learned my lesson to go. Well, if Texas was my team that I was rooting for, I would have picked Texas. But Texas is my wife's team that she's rooting for. So, where was I? Oh yeah. So we have a split decision against Pitt and Tennessee. Everyone but the mascot took Florida, and then we have a split with the BYU Baylor game. So these should all be pretty good matchups. Nothing. I don't think there's going to be a game. Let's just talk for a minute about one of the most exciting games that we actually didn't even talk about last week. How crazy was the ending to the Florida State LSU game?
Oh my! If I'm the LSU quarterback, I'm pissed. I did everything I could to put my team in a position to win late, or at least tie it late, just to have the field goal blocked. I'm pissed on the LSU quarterback.
There's an even bigger reason why LSU was even in that position to begin with, and that's their punt returner fumbling twice, leading to FSU scores. If I'm the quarterback, I'm mad at the punt returner.
I'm guessing special teams did a lot of running at practice on Monday.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was insane. My wife and I were watching that, and our jaws just both dropped. Like, did they really just block the extra kick that was sending this to overtime? Holy!
Did y'all see Brian Kelly in his press conference?
No, I didn't.
He was one of the reporters, I guess, came in late, and he was giving the reporter some shit. And the reporter said, "I'll be on time next time if you start winning."
Oh, nice.
Did you see that?
That's just one game.
Hold on. Have you guys seen the memes going around that, like, I left Notre Dame, changed my accent for this crap?
Oh,
yeah.
It's like he keeps, like, progressing into
Bayou country.
No, who was the Ed
Orgeron.
Orgeron. Yeah, like at one point, one of the pictures is just Ed.
Also, speaking of him, did you see him getting talked to? And he was talking about the $17 million
buyout.
He's like, what would you do if you were offered $17 million? I was like, where's the door? I'll leave right now.
Where's the door? What time do you need me out by?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, he's enjoying life.
if you give me $17 million to quit my job, I'm down. Do it. I'll take it.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Not go Tigers. All right, so there are our college picks of the week, but let's get to why we are here. I am so ready for some football. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I don't even care that my team's not even playing tomorrow. Tomorrow as of this recording, you'll probably be seeing this the same day because I still got to edit this. But we are going to NFL predictions. And we are going to start in the AFC. What we're going to do is we're going to go down each division. We're going to give our division winners, and then we're going to talk about our 3 wildcard teams for each the AFC and the NFC. And then we will give our championship games. We're going to pick the 2 teams from each conference that will make the championship game and pick our winner of those. And then we will give our ultimate Super Bowl winners. I know I teased last week that we were also going to be talking about award winners, but we decided to add in the extra college football segment. So we don't want to make this episode run too long because we know that running very long is not necessarily the best for a podcast. So, hey, if you enjoy listening to us, more power to you. But we value your time and we don't want to take up too much of your time. So here we are at AFC. We've got North, South, East, West, and the wild card. I am ready to make these picks. Are you?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this. Okay.
Ready.
We will start with the North. And Brendan, you go first.
Baltimore Ravens, baby.
All right. So he's
Lamar
going
Jackson
Ravens.
is going to lead this team to a division title.
All right. Hold on. I got to find my logos now. There they are. We got the Ravens. Got the Ravens taking the North. Should I save JR for last because his team's
just
in
go
this
to
division?
JR now and get it out.
Go to JR now because we know who's going to pick.
When the reigning division champs address their only need in the offseason in a big way, it's Who Day all over again.
And what was their biggest need?
O-line, baby.
And how do they address it?
They got Lael Collins, now the new certified president of the Joe Burrow Protection Club. You got Ted Karras, Alex Kappas. Three huge additions there.
Is this
I'm
success
still hurting about with all the injuries on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers O-line? I'm still hurting about Alex Kappa. I hope you know that. I hope you know that.
Yeah, they're definitely missing him now with Jensen out in particular, I'm sure.
Brennan, were you going to say something?
I said, is all the success going to JR's head?
I mean, can you really blame him? It's like he said, it's not like they didn't really lose anything from last year.
I think it's going to go to his head.
When you have the best quarterback in the division, I don't think you can expect to lose the division. When you have the best wide receiving core in the division, I don't think you can expect to lose the division.
True.
When you have the best defense in the division, you can't expect to lose the division. I think that just says my pick, Who Day.
I don't know about best defense, but I mean, I can't argue with the pick because I'm also going Bengals as well. I don't know if they have the best defense.
Dissenter, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the dissenter, but it's hard to pick against the reigning AFC champs, because as JR said, they only on paper, they really only got better. And I'm not going to pick against them because everyone picked against them last year. No one was expecting them to make the playoffs, much less make the Super Bowl. Yeah. So there we go. I'm picking the Bengals to take the division crown. All right, AFC South. For me, this is a no-brainer. This isn't going to be one of the most competitive divisions, and I'm going to say this right now before we even get to a wild card. You are not going to see more than one team out of this division from my predictions, and my AFC South team is going to be the Indianapolis Colts.
You know, I agree with only one team out of the division making the postseason, but I think this is going to be a pretty competitive division between its top 2 teams. I just think that the division winner finishes with the lowest amount of wins of any playoff team.
Right. I'm not saying the Colts are going to be like Super Bowl contenders. I'm just saying of the bad teams in the AFC South, Colts are going to be the ones that come out on top.
I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm also going to go Colts since I'm talking. I'm going to go Colts as well, but I wouldn't even say that the Colts or Titans are bad rosters. I just think compared to the loaded AFC, they're much weaker than the competition, but they are not bad teams.
I think the Titans got markedly worse, especially moving on from A.J. Brown. Tannehill is not what he used to be. Henry is, everyone's going to be worried that they're going to run him literally into the ground and he's going to get injured again, and they don't have a lot of depth behind him. Their defense is okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to, the Titans are going to be around 500. The Colts are going to be a little bit above 500, and that's why the Colts are going to win it.
I agree with that. I just don't think the Titans are that bad of a team.
They're a 500 team. That's how I view them.
Yeah.
Which won't make the playoffs.
Nope. Also agree with that.
All right. The other two have been silent this entire time. I'm waiting for one of them to chime in.
JR, please.
I'm actually going with the Titans to win the division here. I do not have faith in Matt Ryan as the quarterback of the Colts. I also don't have a whole lot of faith in their quote unquote weapons that they have around him. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. is a really good receiver, but Paris Campbell still hasn't proven anything.
Does the name Jonathan Taylor mean anything to you?
No, not when it comes to winning football.
Gosh.
Not when it comes to winning divisions and titles. I mean, think of all the great running backs and what great teams are they on? I mean, Tennessee relies heavily on Derrick Henry, but that's what their whole team is built around. And I also think that Ryan Tannehill is better than Matt Ryan at this point. So I'm going with the Titans.
I agree with that, but I think that here there's a lot of Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill slander. Both are still very good quarterbacks who have not for most of their careers and still don't get the respect that they deserve.
Did you see Tannehill in the playoffs last year?
Oh, I did. Trust me.
Everyone has bad games.
Yeah, trust me. I watched the game. I mean, he made some bad decisions, but at the same time, he got them there. I mean, Matt Ryan has not been a very good quarterback in a long time.
Matt Ryan has a lot worse of a supporting cast.
Oh man, I resent that, Mark. But move on.
Matt Ryan has had a lot worse of a supporting cast in Atlanta than Tannehill did in Tennessee.
He's also done a very good job playing playing behind an absolutely garbage offensive line since they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Tannehill's more of a playmaker. I think, Matt Ryan is great when everything's perfect. He can stand back there like a statue and throw the ball. But he's
really not like Matt Ryan.
I liked Matt Ryan several years ago, but not Matt Ryan now. I mean, he can stand back there in a 7-on-7 drill and look great. But
I think this year he is going to break out into what he was when he led the Falcons to the Super Bowl, because he has a legitimate star at running back to take the pressure off of him. Defenses are going to have to focus on Jonathan Taylor, which takes pressure off of them focusing on Matt Ryan's passing game. Cordell Patterson did pretty well in a surprising role for the Falcons last year, but he's not Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, he's 37. I mean, to say he's going to break out at 37.
Break out from what he had been recently since the 28-3 game.
We'll see. I doubt that quite a bit.
Aiden's looking smug, so I feel like he's gonna blow us away with a pick that is like just gonna we're gonna think he's dumb and he's gonna think he's the smartest person on earth.
No, I'm just sitting here listening to JR spill off nonsense. I've watched Matt Ryan in the NFC South for how many years now? Terrorize defenses at times.
That's where I'm coming from.
This is a no-brainer pick. I went with Joe Burr beforehand. I'm going to keep it with the Ice theme and go Matty Ice in the Colts. You got Michael Pittman. You got Jonathan Taylor. You got Quentin Nelson on the O-line. This team is so good. This team is the best team in the AFC South. And this team is going to win the division pretty handily. Derrick Henry's going to get hurt about week 4 again like he does every year. And
No, he does not get hurt every year. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt every year. Derrick Henry has been hurt for maybe 1 or 2 years. Derrick Henry has been more durable than
Derrick
McCaffrey.
Henry cost me a fantasy championship.
So someone's
last year,
salty.
so I'm still a little salty.
It's not a lot salty to me.
I don't want to hear about salty as being
all right.
I don't want to hear salty since I'm a Panthers fan. All right, we pay McCaffrey to sit on the bench. All right. Well, so far our 2 division choices have been 3 people on one side and 1 dissenter. All right. So who's going to be the dissenter next?
I'm sorry, I got to jump back in one more time on Matt Ryan.
Oh no!
He
was looking up stats.
Last year with that terrible supporting cast was the worst season of his career by a mile. Every year prior to that, he has been excellent.
He hasn't had a QBR above 60 in 3 years.
That is an absolute lie.
No, it's not.
It's not. But it's accurate. Hey, 59.8 and 59.6. I knew it was. I just had to jump in.
No, the best part is that was like you're so sure of yourself. That is an absolute. Okay, wait. Well, no, it's not.
Yeah, no, but I don't think that 59.8 and 59.6 count as dramatically below 60.
Just round up.
QBR is an interesting method of evaluating quarterbacks, but if you're going to use it, 50's league average.
Is it?
Yeah, it's that.
Brennan,
it's not on a scale of 0 to 100.
No, it's approximately 50 league average.
Okay.
I
haven't done enough research to know the difference.
The brief.
All right. So moving on, that was a heated topic. AFC East. Aiden, you go first this time.
Bills Mafia. Josh Allen leads. Bills Mafia to big heights.
That is early on one of the more popular Super Bowl favorites.
Do they make my Super Bowl though? You'll have to wait and find out.
Coming up next.
QBR is a 0 to 100 scale with 50 average.
You can have over 100.
QBR is different than quarterback rating, right?
You're thinking about passer rating.
Passer rating.
Passer rating. Oh.
That's what I'm thinking. So passer rating is the one that can go up to like 153.
158.3.
Yeah,
that's the one that you just disregard.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's the pitcher win-loss total of football.
Well, I mean, QB win-loss is the pitcher win-loss of football, but anyway, I digress. All right, who else is picking the AFC East? Bills.
I don't see any reason not to pick them.
I would love to pick the Dolphins. I really think the Dolphins are primed for a good year, but I have to go with the Bills. I mean, just Josh Allen coming back, his skill set, and that feeling of unfinished business after the way they lost to Kansas City in the playoffs. I can't bet against them as much as I do think Miami is primed to have a big year.
No, I'm not going to be the dissenter this round. Bills.
Andrew, will you stop agreeing with me? Like, I don't like this.
All right. AFC West. This is probably where we're going to disagree.
Yeah,
right?
Probably.
Who goes first?
JR has not gone first yet, so he's going first this time.
Yeah, this division, I think, in our ghost episode that never is to be seen again, I think we all kind of agreed that this division is just a stacked group of teams, and there's a lot of talent here. I feel like the trendy pick is the Chargers. That everyone kind of feels like they're ready to take that next step, but for me, it's still the Chiefs division until proven otherwise. Patrick Mahomes, I know that there's no Tyreek Hill anymore. There's some changes that have happened there, but I still think there's a lot of talent on that team, and Patrick Mahomes is not going to give up that division easily. So I'm going to stick with them.
I'm going to hop in there and say counterpoint, bolt up, or as Keenan Allen said, Charger Nation, let's ride. Did you see that training camp video?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I did. It was dumb. So you're picking the
It's
Chargers then?
It's Chargers time,
The
baby.
Chargers.
It's finally going to be their time. They have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for it to be their time. And I think the Chiefs are poised to take just enough of a step back for them to jump forward.
Waiting just as long as they've been waiting for the stadium to fill up?
Pretty good. Listen, we're not talking attendance figures. All right, we're talking
I know.
quality on the field. The Chargers
I'm making a
have
comparison.
never left San Diego because no one in LA
No,
gives a crap.
they shouldn't
about
have.
them.
They should never have left San Diego. That was a dumb move by the owner there, for sure.
By the way, Chargers second. I believe they're the second team in NFL history. Third team in NFL history to start in a city, leave, and come back.
The other one was the LA Rams
And the Raiders.
Raiders.
Raiders
They
played
moved
in
out.
LA for 13 years
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
in the 80s and 90s.
The more you know. All right, Aiden, are we going to pick the same team here?
I don't know. Who are you going with?
In the Lost episode, I chose the Broncos just to see if I could get y'all's reaction. I don't think they actually end up winning the division.
You're not going to ride?
No, I'm not going to go. Not for the division, maybe for the wild card. But yeah, I mean, I know they are the trendy pick, but the Chargers just look real good right now. They added Khalil Mack. Herbert is growing as a quarterback. They still have Allen and Mike Williams and Eckler, and I feel like Aiden's gonna say that I copied him again.
God dang it! Like I can't not go with the San Diego Superchargers.
So we have
Greatest theme song of all time.
we have the double dissenter in JR and the single dissenter with me, and then just straight.
Okay, I guarantee our wild card teams are probably going to be different. Aiden.
I hope so.
Probably. I hope so too, because if we have this,
I think by and large we have pretty much the same 7 playoff teams.
I will say, this just goes to show everyone watching, we don't tell each other our picks beforehand just so we can get our live reactions, like you see Aiden throwing his pen at me right now. For this reason. So we could potentially have picked all the same teams.
I'm just mad because I have a feeling now I'm gonna go 0-4 because you suck at picking teams.
Oh,
Hey, that's college football. This is NFL, man. I know the NFL more than I know college.
that's a stiff jab.
But I
Yeah.
hit him with the right.
Mm-hmm. I'll take a body blow. I'll come back strong.
All right, for wild cards, we want to go one at a time or list our 3.
Let's
We should list each of us should list our 3.
our 3. Okay. So who's first?
So
I think we should save me and Aiden for the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. Are we listing him 1 wild card, 2 wild card, 3 wild card, or just all 3 in any order?
I'd say who you think, because how I'm going to reveal mine is like which one's going to be like the last team in is the last one I'm going to reveal.
Okay, then that's how I'm going to do mine as well.
Why don't you go ahead, Brendan?
Chiefs. Waiting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bengals, is they're not going to miss the postseason. I think they lose their division by a game or finish tied in record and lose on tiebreaker. I think it's going to be very close. And then that last playoff spot.
That's going to be the fun one for all of us.
Tua Magic, baby.
Oh, it's the
Tua
Dolphins.
Magic. Tua Tagovailoa is going to take a massive step forward in his career with new weapons, a revamped offense. I think he is poised to become the star quarterback he was always meant to be.
Ah,
I dig it. I dig it.
all right, JR, what you got?
So I do have the Chargers as the top wild card team. I think, even though that division is so stacked, I think they are such a good team that I think they still end up with a pretty solid record there at the top of the wild card group. I also have the Dolphins in there, but I think they'll be in that second spot. There's a few wins they can pile up on in that AFC East, so I've got them in there.
I think the Jets are better than people give them credit for, but go on.
Or the Patriots.
I do like the
never
Patriots,
count
but
out Bill Belichick.
I still am not sold on Mac Jones. I could see them having a step back year this year, but my third team is going to be the Ravens. I think they still, with Lamar coming back, J.K. Dobbins, should be back this year healthy. I love the Kyle Hamilton draft pick to help out that secondary, which was terrible last season, especially in the second half of the year. So I think Baltimore, gets back in there and edges out some other teams there for that last spot.
Hey, JR, how many wins do you think Cincinnati has?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say without taking a real close look at the schedule.
Ballpark.
I would put them around 12 wins.
And you think Baltimore? How many think you end up with? Or how many think they end up with?
Probably 10, 9, 10.
Complete inverse, but I think like that. That's with similar reasoning. So I was curious for your reasoning because we have those switched.
Yeah. I will say the Ravens-Bengals race for the AFC North is going to be a very fun one to watch, for sure. I debated back and forth on Bengals-Ravens for that division. So it's the North and the West and the AFC are going to be the two divisions to watch. Not to disrespect your Tennessee pick, but I don't think it's going to be as exciting to watch, even if they do end up close together with the Colts and Titans.
Oh, yeah.
I don't say this. I think there are going to be three over 500 teams in the AFC who miss the playoffs.
Wow. So you think they're going to beat up on the NFC? We're going to have an under 500 team in the AFC make it?
Well,
maybe,
but really, I just think that there's going to be some really bad teams in the AFC. I think the Texans finished with 3 or 4 wins. Jaguars 4 wins. Cleveland's going to be terrible until Deshaun gets back, and even then, I don't know how good they're going to be.
I don't know. The Browns' defense is already pretty.
Are they winning more than 3 games while they're waiting for him to come back?
I mean, if they rely on Chubb and Hunt instead of Brissett, maybe.
Okay.
Hey,
cool.
Don't disrespect Jacoby Brissett, all right?
Jacoby Brissett is a perfectly fine quarterback, but nothing spectacular. Facing off against the teams he's facing.
I mean, to be fair, I would have rather had Jacoby Brissett last year than Sam Darnold, but. All right, Aiden, I gave my West team first, so you can give your wild card first.
Do you want to go one? Do you want to go
one at a time?
Yeah,
sure. We'll do that. We'll make it exciting here.
Chiefs are the number 1 wild card.
Okay. While I don't have the Chiefs as the number 1 wild card, I will say that I actually have the Ravens as the number 1 wild card because I was just mentioning that I think it's going to be very close between the Bengals and Ravens for that division, and I think the Ravens miss the division by 1 game and end up as the top wild card.
All right, you want to go first for your number 2?
Yeah, so my number 2 it's going to be the Chiefs. You can't discredit what Mahomes can do. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs and the Ravens end up with the same record and it's just like tiebreakers that separate them between 1 and 2, honestly. But yeah, that's my number 2.
I got the Ravens in the number 2.
Okay, so we flipped these. So we still have the same teams.
Get a room.
All right, Aiden.
All right, you go first for this.
No, you're first.
Are you guys finishing each other's sandwiches?
That's what I was going to say.
Do it at the same time.
All right, count us down, Brendan.
3, 2, 1.
Broncos.
Dolphins. Okay.
I think Russell Wilson leads Bronco Nation riding all the way into the playoffs. Wow, that's a large logo. Hold on.
He did it.
He's just gonna keep riding just as the Panthers keep pounding.
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that. At least we don't label ourselves as a family show, because goodness gracious.
Hey, while the Bucks are in the background just firing off their cannons.
Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you add someone to the group that's still in college. He has that immature humor.
Hey, we're getting a whole new diverse audience, all right, Dad? Just because you have some kids doesn't mean you can't have fun with sex jokes, all right?
I didn't say I was having fun with these. Anyway, we don't have the same playoff teams for the AFC. We diverge
so there
one
are only
time.
2. Like I said earlier, I figured by and large we'd all have the same playoff picks. The only the only differences are JR having the Titans in, which we all agreed would be fair, and you having the Broncos, Andrew.
I've got three AFC West teams in the playoffs. By the way,
Can I say something here though? I'm going to say something. I think the Broncos finished last in the division. I think Derek and the Raiders finish higher than the Broncos this year.
Yeah,
It's
I
entirely
agree with that.
possible. It's entirely
AFC,
possible.
AFC West this year. Broncos, Raiders both 9-8. Chiefs 10-7. Chargers 11-6.
I don't think the
We weren't-
Broncos have a winning record.
Really?
I honestly think the Broncos will have a top 10 pick this year, rebuild themselves for next year, and then next year are going to challenge.
They can't get a top 10 pick. They traded him away.
Oh well.
I think that they have a solid.
Let's
I think
talk
they have an interesting receiving core. They got an interesting defense. They got an interesting
have-
offensive line.
They have a
and
great
Russell-
running back in Javonte Williams.
and Javonte Williams. I think that the team as a whole is solid. They're going to be they make up that core of AFC teams who are going to have an above 500 record.
I think they were
Missed the playoffs.
solid last year, but they just had absolutely abysmal quarterback play with Bridgewater and Locke. And you bring in a playmaker, perennial Pro Bowler in Russell Wilson, and that is what brings them from
Okay, we can't
an
use
average
the
team
Pro
to
Bowl. We can't
playoff
use
team.
the Pro Bowl
Yeah, the
to
Pro
say
Bowl
anyone's
worthless.
a perennial.
all right,
It's like-
fine, all pro.
Hey, there
Thank
you go.
you.
Is that better?
It is better. Thank you.
That's like
there you
saying
go.
that's like saying a perennial MLB All-Star starter when we were talking about Lorenzo Cain starting 3 years in a row for the Royals just because Royals fans decided to go crazy.
Lorenzo Cain was a beast during those years.
He was
They're
good
just
during those
respect his
years.
name.
You know what? Fine, hold on. Alcides Escobar.
Alcides Escobar was a great defensive shortstop.
Oh my god.
Who votes on
The
defense,
point
though?
still stands.
All I'm saying is that if your fan base is going to support you like that, I'm not gonna diss on it.
I think Russell Wilson was a missing key in Denver. And while I don't think because of how competitive the AFC West is, that's why they are a wild card team. You put them in any other division except maybe the AFC East, they would win that division.
No.
Well,
No.
okay, I take that back. You put them in the South, they'll win it.
Yeah, if you put them in the South, they would probably win it. But
You put any of the wild card teams in the South and they win it.
I don't think the Dolphins would. That's just me, though. I don't have them in the playoffs.
Dolphins would run away with that division.
Mm.
Okay, so while we're on the topic of talking about about the divisions, and then the Dolphins being in the South, because JR thinks that they could run away with that division. I personally think that they should be in the South. The Dolphins should move to the South. The Colts should move to the North, and then the Ravens should move to the East. And then you would have these nice geographically aligned divisions.
Were they made the way they were because of when teams were added to the league? Is that what it was?
It's kind of a rivalries thing.
But I feel like Ravens Steelers I always think of as a rivalry. Am I
Yes,
crazy?
that's
big
why
rivalry.
the Ravens are with this. I guess they really weren't before then. It's because the Ravens were the Browns. So the franchises had that rivalry. The Steelers Ravens rivalry really started after the North Division became a thing. It's because they weren't going to separate the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets, and the Dolphins from each other.
Historic rivalries.
Yeah. And then so obviously you have the three old Central teams all playing with really close proximity to each other: the Steelers, the Browns, the new Browns, and the Bengals. And so you lump in the Ravens to them because they're close, and then everybody else becomes the South. But
technically,
really,
the Colts are closer than the Ravens. Technically,
exactly. But you're not going to put the Ravens in the South over the Colts in that situation.
No, but why not
Right.
move the Colts to the East?
Why would you do that?
The
The Colts are
Dolphins to
further
the
west. The
South.
Colts are further west than all of the other North teams.
For
gotta be-
rivalry's sake, I don't
That's
think in the
stupid.
South.
I mean, we're talking about geographic alignment.
which we don't think they're ever going to change anything anyway. So that's
No,
the point.
no, we don't.
All right.
But,
Well, there you have it, guys. Here are our AFC predictions. Let's move to the NFC before we get even more.
I feel like
Derailed.
this one's going to go a lot faster.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I
really?
feel like there's going to be a lot less discussion here.
Oh, really?
I mean, over most of the divisions, I think there's going to be one division with a lot of discussion. Maybe two.
All right, well, let's see what happens. So NFC North. Who wants to go first?
Packers.
The Packers are going first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you need to elaborate on that choice.
If you want to.
Nope.
You might as well put some cheese on my head. Packers.
Was that supposed to be a joke?
Cheeseheads, bro. It's like
I
the
know
whole
it.
thing.
I know it's Cheesehead, but like, I don't know where he was trying to go with that.
He was referencing the Cheeseheads, the thing that
He was
Packers
trying to be
fans do,
funny,
man.
and it didn't work.
I wasn't trying to be funny. I just wasn't trying to say the Packers again. I was just trying to be a little different.
Jeez,
Jeez.
Andrew, you really gotta come at him so sideways, man. Come on.
He's really in dad mode right now.
He
Like
is in
Andrew
dad
is in
mode.
full dad mode right
Which
now.
I'm allowed to be since I am a dad. So, Packers. See? Was that so hard?
Descent. I'm going with the Vikings.
Oh, man.
Oh, boo.
You know what? This morning when I was doing my picks, like in preparation, I wrote Vikings and scratched them out and put Packers. So I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I
Kirk
love,
Cousins is the most mediocre quarterback. He sucks. He's terrible. He doesn't belong in the NFL. Get him out of the NFL.
He's got weapons out the wazoo. You know, maybe the best wide receiver core in the entire NFC. I mean, and you got Dalvin Cook at running back. I mean, that team is going to score a lot of points, and they still have a pretty solid defense as well. So I see the Vikings coming out of there. I am not high on the Packers this season at all.
JR, can I have whatever you're
see like
smoking?
11 wins.
Can I have whatever you're smoking, please? Because you're obviously in La La Land if you think the Vikings have the best receiving core in the NFC.
I said maybe. I said it's arguable. I mean,
Justin Jefferson is a beast.
They have the best receiver in the NFC for sure.
And then
You can't. Don't argue that.
Who's better than Justin Jefferson?
Don't say Mike Evans is better than Jefferson right now.
Look at the stats. Mike Evans is better than Justin Jefferson.
Okay,
He's
Justin
more-
Jefferson's
more
what, going into his
consistent?
second or third year?
Also,
he's
remember
going
who's
to-
throwing. Remember who's throwing to each of them.
Remember, Mike Evans has 7 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, and for 5 of those seasons it was Jameis Winston.
Yeah, we never said Jameis Winston didn't throw for a lot of
they
yards
were-
and a lot of
they were
touchdowns. He just
behind.
also threw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, they were behind games all the time. That's when they were throwing the ball all over the place. I mean,
Like, I'm not gonna like argue with
I
Abe
would
here
take
because
Mike
I think
Evans
he's right, but I also
over
think that
Justin
JR makes a
Jefferson.
pretty good point about the Vikings roster being closer to contention than a lot of people are willing to give them credit for.
I don't think their defense is quite there yet. They have some good players, but I don't think it's enough to help them win the division.
I think they'll make it closer. I think like I said, I think the Packers regress to probably 11 wins this year, but I think the Vikings are a 9 challenging 10-win squad.
yeah, but I mean, the Packers losing Devontae Adams is huge. I mean, look at their wide receiving core now. You got Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins. I mean, these guys could fall apart at any second.
Agreed, and that's a 2-win loss for them. Like that's where the 2 wins come from. You still have literal Superman leading the team.
I mean, let's just look at Tom Brady. He never really had there were a couple Super Bowl years with the Patriots where he had an unremarkable wide receiving core. There's no reason I think that Aaron Rodgers can't do the same thing.
Yeah, all you just need to do, you just need to be
Somewhat
literally
open.
so far above everybody that it doesn't matter who your receivers are.
I don't
Also,
know.
I think the Packers defense is going to be one of the top defenses in the league.
Yeah, they have a really good defense for sure. I mean, they absolutely do. I just
If the Packers didn't have the defense that they do, I would have probably picked the Vikings because I didn't think Aaron Rodgers could do enough to overcome the defense. But because they have such a great defense, Aaron Rodgers is able. It's going to take some of the pressure off of Aaron Rodgers and those wide receivers, where they can do what they need to do to win.
we'll see.
Straight MVPs, about to make a 3rd.
Ooh, that's a hot take. 3 straight MVP seasons. All right. NFC South. Maybe I should have saved this one for the last, but I'm going to go in the order of the graph here. We'll save me and Aiden for the end of this one. We'll let Brendan and JR start us off.
Jerry, you want to go first?
Bucks runaway. I mean, there's really no point in talking too much about it. I mean, this is probably the worst division in football.
AFC South, buddy. Come on, AFC South gotta take that. And then the NFC North is definitely right in there too. I mean, the Bears and the Lions are terrible.
They're pretty bad.
The Lions are going to be better than people think this year.
Yeah, they're going to be like 5 wins, which is better than what most people
I'd
think.
say closer to 7, but
I mean,
it's
this
still under
division has-
500. It's still under 500, but it's the definite improvement over the last few years.
I mean, this
I'm
division
going with
has
the
two
Saints.
teams
I'm going with the
that are
Saints
be
in the
picking.
South.
the
You
top
going with the
five.
Saints?
I'm going with the Saints.
Wow.
You have a lot of faith in Jameis Winston, my friend.
No, I have a lot of faith in Jameis Winston being just good enough to win. They have a talented defense. They got a lot of players. They got a lot of good players on the roster.
Who was that player that they just kind of gave up for peanuts to the Eagles? That safety?
I can't remember. That was stupid. But I do think
Chauncey
the
something?
Bucks are poised to regress closer to the mean. Tom Brady's gotten nothing but older. And
All right, we all know what Aiden's going to do, so I'll go next. We all know what Aiden's going to do. I'll go next.
there's always gonna be
Panthers.
some surprises.
What's that?
There's always going to be some surprises in the NFL season.
I just don't think it's going to be here. I'm sorry. As much as I hate,
no one ever.
as much as I hate to, like, when has Tom Brady not been in the playoffs? If Tom Brady stayed freaking retired, I'd be choosing the Saints right now.
I mean, I didn't say they weren't going to be in the playoffs.
I'm talking about division. But when like Brady is always going to be there, and yes, it is a less competitive division. When you're talking about a division that includes the Falcons, who are probably going to be the number 1 overall pick, that's my prediction, is they're going to be the lowest record in the league. But I hate the fact that Tom Brady retired and unretired. It just makes me hate him even more. I respect him as one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time. I respect him in that regard. But as a person, I can't stand him.
I mean,
He just needs to retire. Just get out.
Over Seattle, worst team in the league for Atlanta.
Yes.
Seattle is bad, dude.
Seattle is bad. Seattle would be the number 2 pick. Bears will be 3.
Bears might be 1.
Hey, might be. All right, Aiden. Should I just go ahead and put it down there?
Yeah, and I'm about to go on a rant for a moment.
All
right,
right.
cool.
Where's my pillow?
Yeah. So, first of all,
You muted him. I didn't do it.
I have not muted you once, Brennan. I have been good. I have been respectful.
Oh, I didn't.
was
It's not like I
uncalled.
waited till you talk. I said first of all, and then I muted you, and then I took you off.
But here's where I'm going to start. All right?
How long is this podcast gonna go?
Do I have time
I'll
for a
keep
quick
it
nap?
short and sweet.
Yeah.
I'll keep it short and sweet here. All right, here we go. First of all, Brennan, you saying that Tom Brady just getting older, he finds a way to win no matter what age he is. It doesn't matter. He will find a way to win. Your point is mute. Done. Second of all, JR, the best receiving core in the NFC belongs in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller. Then you also got in the tight end room, you got Cam Brate, who has always shown that he's a great blocking and catching tight end. When Rob Gronkowski comes back week 4, he'll be added to that room as well.
Make America great again.
Make America great again. We love it. We love it. And then
You
third
really
of all,
think Gronk's gonna come back again?
I would not be shocked, honestly. Like, it wouldn't be the
Well, to be fair, I wouldn't be
craziest
shocked either, but I'm sick of that too.
Yeah. And then third of all, I just like to take this time to put some respect on my man Levante David's name, please. Like, I just need the man is underappreciated, underrespected. The man is one of the most consistent and most grindiest and best linebackers in the NFL, and deserves the recognition that he does not get.
I mean, I got
As
behind
someone who
you.
res-
I got behind
Go ahead.
you on underrespected, but I'm not going to get behind you on most grindiest.
That belongs to Urban Meyer.
That sounds painful.
Hey, he finally joined in.
That was perfect timing when Aiden was taking a drink.
I hope you know if he was the Panthers coach, the amount of keep pounding jokes we would be making right now.
Oh. I'm glad that he got nowhere. I mean, to be fair, everyone in Carolina wants Matt Rule out. Honestly, I'm not on that bandwagon of wanting Rule fired. I see what the players say about him, but at least we didn't have Urban Meyer.
Yeah, fair. All right.
And
but
on the topic of linebacker, as someone who knows a good linebacker when I see it, Levante David is good. He's not nearly as good as Luke Kuechly was, but he is definitely one of the top linebackers in the league for sure. He is not gonna be like best of all time conversations, but
neither one of them are as good as Derek Brooks was.
Derek Brooks is probably a top 3 linebacker of all time.
I feel like if Kuechly played,
you can't say Kuechly was good as Derek Brooks. That's just nonsense.
If Kuechly played more seasons, you could put him in that same conversation.
I know. Peak was better.
What?
Brooks has a longevity, but I think Kuechly's peak was better.
I just wish that Kuechly could have stayed in the league longer. Would have been surefire Hall of Famer. Now it's like, is he a Hall of Famer because the concussions hurt him?
The answer is no. The answer is no. He's not a Hall of Famer.
All I'm saying is that
until Rondé Barber gets in the Hall of
Aiden's bias is really showing through here. Yeah. I don't think he'd be making nearly as impassioned defense if he wasn't, wearing the jersey he's wearing.
I personally would put
I do not believe.
Thank you.
Me too.
I'd agree. Hold on. Personally, I'd agree as a non-biased Bucs fan, Luke Kuechly belongs in the Hall of Fame. As a Bucs fan, I don't want to see until Rondé Barber is in the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame is meaningless and has no worth.
Wow.
And apparently he will die on that hill, so good luck.
I will die on that hill. That is a hill I'm willing to die on.
NFC East time.
This disgusting division.
Yeah, this is talking about worst divisions. You got to talk about the NFC East within that.
Yeah, with another 2 bottom feeders in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
The Giants
New York for sure. The Giants are horrible. The Giants. Let's just say maybe the top 5 picks in the draft this year are going to be NFC teams. Can we just say that's a strong possibility?
Houston.
Oh well, yeah, you can put Houston in there. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't see this division as having anybody that's real bad. That's where I don't agree. I think
Giants
the
are
Giants, bad. I don't know. They still
don't hate on Danny Dimes. Do not hate on Danny Dimes.
They still have some talent on that team. I don't think anybody in this division is going to be a terrible team, but it's just going to be a division of mediocrity. I feel like.
Who comes away?
So who do you think? Yeah, since you're talking about him, who do you think is going to end up on top?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick the Cowboys just based on talent. Eagles. I can't go get behind Jalen Hurts, even with AJ Brown in the receiving core. So I can't put them in as a division winner. So I got to stick with the Cowboys there.
All right. I'll go the other side of that. I'm taking the Eagles. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. I think that they are not going to need to rely on Jalen Hurts as much as everyone's going to say that they're going to, because they have one of the best running games in the league. And I think that the addition of AJ Brown is going to be a difference maker in that offense to give Hurts someone who can catch the ball, not like Jalen Reagor. But I think the Eagles actually come away with the division this year. Their defense is underrated. Their offense is going to go through their run game, and Hurts is going to be able to play off of that as both a dual threat quarterback. And I don't think Hurts is going to be super spectacular, and if he limits his mistakes, the Eagles are going to win the division. And I'm banking on the fact that he limits his mistakes.
Andrew, will you get out of my brain, please? Will you just
I was thinking you were going to go Cowboys, man.
No, I'm going Eagles. As much as I hate the Eagles, I still hate the Cowboys more. The Eagles.
Okay, so this is an emotional pick for you.
No. I hate both teams pretty equally. Cowboys just a little bit more. But looking at it statistically and what these two teams bring, I think Jalen Hurts is poised for a breakout season. I honestly think he takes a big step forward here. And I honestly think we talk about him as the first successful Alabama quarterback in the NFL.
And that's saying a lot because there have been a lot of Alabama quarterbacks.
You're
I'm going to
talking.
provide more context for this once we get into the playoff discussion. The Cowboys are going to have the best record in the NFL this year.
Wow.
I will be providing more context for this selection. Please hold all your discussion.
Where's the red alert? Where's the red alerts going off here?
Woo!
Until we start talking about the
Hot
playoffs, please hold all opinions because I will have more context.
Playoffs. Talk about playoffs. We're just trying to win a game.
Playoffs?
I think this is the first division where we had a 2-2 split.
It is.
It is.
All right. NFC West.
I'll jump in. Trey Lance show, baby.
You think Trey Lance is good enough to lead the Niners?
Trey Lance is the real deal.
Based on what evidence?
Based on belief and
That's
Kyle
not
Shanahan.
evidence. Mr. Stats, that's not evidence.
I think he has. I think that he is. I
trust
Brennan,
maybe
I trust Kyle
maybe I
Shanahan.
didn't. Brennan, maybe I didn't need to ask JR. Maybe I need to ask you this. What are you smoking? Because obviously,
I think the Shanahan show is going to be awesome to watch in California this year. I think that Trey Lance is going to have 3,900 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 13 picks, 900 rushing yards, a further 10 on the ground.
Are you writing this down so we can compare that to what his actual stats are at the end of the year?
I mean, I've been saying it over and over again, but tell you what.
Is there anyone else who would not be shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo takes over by week 8?
I don't see that happening.
It's a possibility.
Like, am I crazy to think that could happen?
Only because of injury. I mean, I could see it happen because of injury, but I'm kind of with Brendan. I'm not picking the Niners to win, but I do think that offense is going to be fun to watch this year. Kyle Shanahan has proven that he can be creative.
There it is.
I'll put it up here on my computer. It's going to stay
So
there.
who are you taking then, JR? If you're not taking the Niners, who are you taking?
I'm going with the Cardinals. I do think that Kyler Murray, I feel like he has a bounce back year to really play a full season after the way they started last season. I know they're without DeAndre Hopkins for I believe the first 6 games, but I think that Kyler Murray's ready to take a big step forward and carry that team on his back a bit.
I think that he is ready to watch enough film to get him there.
And not play as much Call of Duty. Oh my gosh, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, putting that in his contract. Are you that worried about? Go ahead.
I got a feeling Andrew and I are going with the same team here. I really do.
What a shocker that would be.
Matt Stafford. I can't go against the defending Super Bowl champion Rams. I'm going Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford's not the team, by the way.
Matt Stafford led that team to a Super Bowl. He proved to everyone that he could do it. Matt Stafford is LA.
Yes, but you gotta. Okay. He also had a record-setting season by Cooper Kupp. He also had Aaron Donaldson. He also had Von Miller for the second half of the season. He also has Jalen Ramsey. I mean, you can't say that he put the team on his back. And I will be honest, right now, I am seriously contemplating changing my pick just because it was the same as Aiden's coming into this. But here's my thing. I was debating between the Rams and the Niners. And I think next season is when the Niners take the division, because I think Trey Lance is going to have some growing pains in this being his first NFL season. I don't think the 49ers are going to be bad. I just don't think that the 49ers are going to... It's going to be very close. It may come down to a tiebreaker, honestly, between the Rams and the 49ers. But I'm sticking to what I had written down before. Yes, Aiden, I had the same pick as you. Dang nabbit. I have the LA Rams winning the West.
Andrew, either you and I are going to be real happy or real upset, and it's one of the two.
I hope that at least our week 1 predictions are different.
I really do too.
Because we still got to talk about those. But
Well,
moving
I
on to the
guarantee
wild
you my
card.
underdog is going to be different.
Yes, we can guarantee that. I already know that.
And can I go first with my wild card this time?
Sure, go for it.
Number 1 team, San Francisco 49ers.
All right, I'll just go ahead and jump on that bandwagon and say, yes, that's me too.
Oh, God. Number 2 team, the Dallas Cowboys.
And I'm staying silent on that one.
And the number 3 team, as much as I hate to say it, the most mediocre quarterback in the NFL leads his team to an 8 seed, or the 7 seed in the Minnesota Vikings.
All right. So there are Aiden's picks. Should I go next to see if it's a copy? All right, so before I reveal my last two, I've already have the 49ers locked in as my top wild card. Like I said, I would not be surprised if the 49ers and the Rams tied for the division and a tiebreaker somehow. Like they could split the season series and have some other crazy tiebreaker break the tie between the division winner and the wild card. I would not be surprised if that happens. So that's who's my number one. I'm going to talk about a team I didn't include in the wild card. And this is probably going to be maybe, I don't know which would be more of a shock. JR picking the Cardinals to win the West or what I'm about to say right now. And that is, I don't think the Cowboys make the playoffs. And this is the reason why. You look back at the Cowboys' history. The last 6 times that the Cowboys have won their division, the next season, they missed the playoffs. So what did they do last year?
They won the division. Andrew, you know what? I'm glad you're doing this because
it's not the same as you.
No, because I think everyone in America who's not a Cowboys fan can agree.
Bring on the Cowboy slander, man. But I will say Vikings are my second.
I know this is outside of dad mode, but part of my French, fuck the Cowboys. And I will take
100%. I'm with you on that one.
My dad raised me to cheer for 2 teams growing up: Carolina Panthers and any team that played the Cowboys. So those are my 2 favorite teams. Anyway, so I do have the Vikings in as the second wild card. I do think, like, to all of JR's points when he was picking them to win the North, I just don't think it's going to be enough to overtake the Packers. I do think they are a very good team, but their defense is not quite as good as the Packers. Their offense may be better than the Packers, but that just depends on if the Vikings receivers show up more than Aaron Rodgers, what Aaron Rodgers makes his receivers, essentially. So we'll see what happens there. For the final wild card spot, I'm going to be biased. I'm doing it. Baker Mayfield season is here. Carolina Panthers sneak in.
Christian McCaffrey to play more than 5 games.
That would require that. Yes, I think that McCaffrey has finally figured out how to stay healthy. I hope, please, because the trend is not in that direction. But I believe the Panthers. There are actually some people that pick the Panthers to win the division. I'm not that crazy. I can't remember who it was. Someone on one of the top NFL Network talk shows picked the Panthers to win the division. I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's take a step back. But the Panthers have a really good defense that gave up very few yards last season. The only reason that they gave up a lot of points was because the offense was so abysmal under Sam Darnold that they didn't have a lot of yards to defend. I think Baker Mayfield, while he's not going to be superstar level, is going to be markedly better than what the Panthers have had a quarterback over the past 2 years. And that's been one of the key pieces we're missing. Our offensive line got a huge upgrade, drafting Cam Ekwonu, signing Austin Corbett, signing Bozeman to be our center. So there's a big upgrade in the offensive line. And our defense, led by Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, is also really good. I think we squeak in as the last wild card team. I think it comes down to the last week of the season, and we get it over the Saints.
Here's my hot take.
Be true.
Here's my hot take. Here, I've got 2 hot takes. Number 1, okay. I don't know if this is as hot of a take, but Panthers finished second in the division. But here's my real hot take. The Cardinals finish under 500, and last in the NFC West.
They finished behind the Seahawks?
It can happen.
Wow.
It's the NFL.
No.
Tyler
There's no way.
Murray.
Oh,
No way.
there's always so many things that happen. Like before the season's everyone like, no way it's gonna happen, or this is a for sure thing, and then it just goes completely the opposite because the NFL.
They have no
is so
DeAndre
unpredictable.
Hopkins for the first 6 weeks. They have no
Yeah.
receiving. They have no running backs. They have nothing.
I think the Cardinals are shit.
The Cardinals suck.
I will agree with potentially finishing under 500. I do not agree with finishing below the Seahawks.
All right.
No
Well,
way.
while JR has been silent here, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get my team because he's been pondering. In order, I'll do them fast. Rams, Bucks, Eagles. I wanted to put the Panthers as that last spot so badly.
Hey, I'm a Panthers fan, so I did it for you. I'll be the one that looks like a homer.
Thank you, because I've been I don't think like there's two things. I vacillate between it. I think that they're going to finish with identical 9-8 records, the Eagles and the Panthers. I just think the Eagles get in based on some tiebreaker somewhere.
Okay.
I think that Baker Mayfield show is the future in Carolina. I think he was so unfairly.
So you think they're
out.
going to re-sign him?
Yes, I think they should too.
Okay. Hey, and for me, it's either Baker is the answer and we make the playoffs, or Baker is another bust like Sam Darnold and we end up with a top QB in the next draft. I'll take
and
either
you didn't
one.
give up anything to get him.
No, it's what we should have given up for Sam Darnold, honestly.
He's not. But here's the thing: what about him has shown anybody that he'll be a bust? Oh, in a season he played injured on a Cleveland team.
His second season wasn't that great.
No, his second season was the good one. It was wait, no, you're right. It was the third season that was a really good one.
The third season was the one he led them to the playoffs and a playoff win over the Steelers.
His floor is average. His ceiling is like 12th best dude in the league. That is not an insult to him, especially.
That is what the Panthers have needed since Cam Newton's 2015 season.
Exactly.
But
Build a
the
competent
problem with
roster around a quarterback who's both fun for the fan base and quality on the field.
But the problem with Baker is there's going to be 2 or 3 games at least where he just literally loses you the game. I mean, he just will be so bad that there's just no chance you can win those games. That's just hard to do.
But then there's other games where he completely can take over the game.
Not take over games. I mean, he can play well, but he's not a guy that's just going to drag a team to a win. He can drag a team down to losses.
I just think JR doesn't like him because he played for the Browns.
No, I just got to see a lot of him.
You see him, yeah, he saw him more. I will say, the key to the season, and it's been the key for the past couple seasons, is if McCaffrey can stay healthy. If McCaffrey can finally stay healthy, that is a weapon out of the backfield. You pair that with DJ Moore, who is honestly one of the most underrated receivers in the league. He has pretty much the exact same stat line as Terry McLaurin over the past few years, and everyone is all on the Terry McLaurin hype train for whatever reason and not on DJ Moore's. And you can argue that DJ Moore's had worse quarterback play than
I think you should
McLaurin.
be on both their hype trains, to be honest.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Moore. I don't think McLaurin should be down to where Moore is. I think Moore should be up to where McLaurin is in terms of hype level. So, yeah, that's where I'm
Everybody
at.
get your teams in there?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, we already talked a little bit about those teams in the West. I've got the Rams and 49ers as the top 2 wild cards. You know, I still think a lot of the Rams team. I just think, you know, that coming off a Super Bowl win, it's tough to run that back and have quite as good of a season. So I see them taking a little bit of a step back. And, you know, the 49ers, I think, are going to be a totally dangerous team, especially the second half of the year. And they're a team that nobody's going to want to play in the playoffs. I think they're really primed to be one of those second half surge teams. And in that final spot, I've got the Eagles, despite my misgivings about Philadelphia. And yes, you'll notice I do not have the Packers in the playoffs. I think
that's bigger snub than me taking the Cowboys out.
I think that trash old wide receiver core comes back to bite Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have a safety blanket and Devontae Adams there anymore, and really takes a step backward.
Still got Jones.
Yeah, but the running game being a primary factor is not a formula for success in the NFL today.
So after all of that long discussion, we have our NFC predictions. I think the biggest shocker is JR keeping the Packers out of the playoffs completely.
No, I think the bigger shocker is the Saints being in the playoffs.
No.
Winning the division.
He just says that as a freaking biased Bucks fan. He wouldn't be saying that if
I can see the Saints making the playoffs, and honestly, if I would have debated having them in over the Panthers, but I was a homer and picked the Panthers because I just like saying if I'm I'll just love bragging if I'm right.
I just can't see them winning the division.
That's fair. Anyway, moving on. It's time for playoff not full playoff predictions. What we'll do here is we are going to say who we think is going to win each conference championship game over another team. And then from there, we will have our Super Bowl teams and we'll pick our Super Bowl winners. So, NFC, do we want to start with Brendan because he teased he has some stuff to say about a particular team, or do we save him to the end of this round?
No, let's do him first.
No, I think we should save him to the end.
Save to the end. All right, I'll go first. So in the playoffs for the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, I'm going to say, and this is gonna be funny to JR considering he doesn't even have this team in the playoffs. I say the Packers make the Super Bowl over the 49ers. How about this for a storyline? That as much as the 49ers have given the Packers grief in the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers finally gets over his playoff woes against San Francisco in the NFC Championship game and makes it to the Super Bowl. So I've got the Packers over the 49ers. If you can see the graphic, that's why I have the slash line there. So that's how y'all can read it.
I'll go next. In my head right now, I'm seeing remnants of a certain year.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put the Bucks on here.
I didn't even say what year it was yet.
I don't care. You're a Bucks fan. You're going to say your Bucks are making it to the Super Bowl. Am I wrong?
Bucks beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
In the Eagles? Okay, there's the surprise pick. Okay. Where's my Bucks logo?
Remnants of 2003, where Rondé Barber's pick six leads the Bucks to the Super Bowl. Sorry.
So you think there's going to be a pick six that leads them to the Super Bowl, or are you just harping on Rondé Barber again?
I think Carlton Davis has a pick six to send the Bucks to the Super Bowl.
Hey, look, Aiden, we didn't match at all.
I love it. Yay!
I will say I almost picked the Bucks to be in the championship game with the Packers, but I think the storyline of them beating the 49ers is better.
All right, JR.
Anyway.
I too have the Bucks going to the Super Bowl from the NFC, and I see them beating the Cowboys in the NFC title game. I think
so. The other NFC East team.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys get close to finally breaking that spell and getting to the Super Bowl, but not quite.
All right. I teased this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to go on just a little bit of a journey here with you all. I think the Cowboys go 14-3 and have the best record in the NFL. I do, and this is a personal statement as someone who despises the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I love Dak Prescott. I think
I drafted him on my fantasy team for a reason.
Shut up, Aiden. Shut up. I think that the Cowboys are going to roll through their regular season schedule and.
Oh, wow. Aiden.
That
really?
was payback. He did it right to me.
Yeah. Why you had a pause. I think they're going to roll through their schedule and earn themselves a first-round bye. I picked the Eagles to be the last team in. I personally believe the Packers are going to have the second best record of any NFC team. I think Eagles-Packers in the first round. I think the Eagles win that playoff game, earning a trip to Dallas, where in the divisional round, they will thump the Cowboys 38-13.
He's even got a score prediction.
Yeah, I've been saying this all offseason. I've been saying it all offseason, and I'm keeping that chain rolling.
Okay, so you've got the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Who are they going up against?
They lose to San Francisco.
All right. So, look at this craziness that we've got here in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but I hope you all now understand the context of my Cowboys prediction.
Because
I think that they get destroyed and humiliated in the playoffs, and I think everyone here should be happier about that than they would be them missing the playoffs.
I just
Humiliation.
I just don't want to deal with the Cowboys fans talking smack when they make the playoffs.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be better to see that, to get them humiliated?
I think it's more humiliating to not make the playoffs, honestly.
I don't know if you were to go 14-3 and then your first playoff game you get destroyed at home by a division rival. That's pretty sweet.
It's pretty humiliating.
I mean, what would be worse, that or the Romo field goal fumble in the playoffs? That was pretty bad. All right. So, with that being said, now we move on to the AFC Championship, and I'm going to have JR go first here because I feel like I know where he's going to go. Kind of like how I knew where Aiden was going to go for the NFC.
So, I have the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, but I have them losing to the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
And I say that because I think the Bills end up with the number 1 seed, and I do think home field advantage comes into play in this one, and they're able to pull it out and go to the Super Bowl. It's tough for any team to go back-to-back runs to the Super Bowl. So, and the Bengals had a lot go right for them in the postseason last year. I still am fully on the Bengals bandwagon as a super fan, but this is business. This is business here.
You hear that, Aiden? It's business. He's
Yeah,
just ignoring me.
but look at the Bucs team. They have a shot at the Super Bowl. Like I love how everyone's calling it Homer, but you still look at that team and they are good enough to make it to the Super Bowl. Like
They are. I just don't think they're
crazy.
going to get there.
And when we come and revisit this and you're wrong, I'm gonna laugh in your face. It's fine.
We'll see.
And we'll meet you. It's okay.
I think I'm going to have to figure out a way to take away mute power from you two if you're going to keep that up all season.
Oh, I just did it once.
Yes, it starts as once. That's what I'm afraid of. All right. Who wants to go next? Should I just go next?
Go ahead.
All right. I think we are going to get yet another epic playoff showdown between the Chiefs and the Bills. And I think the Bills still can't get their will. I think the Chiefs win.
Oh, you're going to it's like a one step down from the Bills. Was it in the 90s or 80s where they had 3 straight Super Bowl appearances and didn't win? You're doing it to them in the AFC. What was that?
They'll have 4 straight playoff matchups against the Chiefs and still not win.
Yeah, you're going to do it to them again.
Yeah.
This time in the AFC Championship.
Well, they didn't make the AFC Championship game last year.
That's true. That's true. Oh man, you're just gonna keep. It's gonna just keep like beating your head against the wall. It's always the Chiefs. Always the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs are a wall that they cannot get over.
Wow. Or is it overtime rules as a wall they can't get over? Yeah. All right, I'll go next. My AFC. I'm gonna say the 2 teams there are the Bills and the Chargers. I've been high on the Chargers, but I don't think the Chargers are going to be enough to take over Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins the AFC. They are the preseason favorite for a reason, and I have no reason to think that Josh Allen has his finally gets to the Super Bowl after the disappointing loss last year where they didn't even get a chance to go on the field on offense against the Chiefs in overtime.
So, did a lot of research. Did a lot of looking.
Define a lot.
4 hours today.
Oh, wow. More than I thought.
Did some research.
More than I did.
I've got the same matchup as Andrew. But I got the inverse. I got Justin Herbert leading the charge for Los Angeles, heading to the Super Bowl. And then after they head to the Super Bowl, we find out this offseason that the Chargers head back to where they rightfully belong in San Diego.
I would love that. I honestly
I
would
don't
love
think
for them
they're
to go
gonna
back
break
to
their
San
lease.
Diego. But they're not going to do it.
I know, but a man can dream, okay? I
Yeah,
want the
that's
San
fair.
Diego Superchargers back.
The Oakland Chargers.
Oakland.
Jesus.
All right. It's Super Bowl time. I've got Packers, Bills. Aiden has Bucks, Chargers. Brendan, 49ers, Chiefs. JR has Bucks, Bills. So there's two of us have Bucks, two of us have Bills, and then there's different teams the rest of the way. I think we should start with Aiden because he just ended the AFC. And we'll go from there.
Is this really even a question?
That's why I had you go first.
Fire the cannons, baby. Buccaneers, 2 in 3 years. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Tom Brady hoists another Super Bowl, and this time he rides off into the sunset a champion, and we can start the Kyle Trask era in Tampa Bay.
And then the Bucks become irrelevant yet again.
That as things should be. World as it was always meant to be.
Perfectly balanced.
Oh my God. As a Mariners fan, I can say this. We are not long for the world of success, and we're going to enjoy it while we're here, much like Bucks fans are right now. It's not the way the world is supposed to be, so enjoy it.
So who do you think has success in the Super Bowl?
I'm going to get a little philosophical for you.
Oh, no.
I feel like
That's
the last
scary.
several years of everybody's life have been dominated by a major global event that started immediately following the Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl. I think as kind of grand philosophical overcoming event. Unlike the Chiefs winning a completely ugly game against the Niners will win a completely disgusting game against the Chiefs.
So you have the 49ers winning the Super Bowl?
I do.
And does that mean the end of COVID? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, like I said, a philosophical, metaphorical overcoming.
All right. JR, what you got?
I tell you what, the young gun Josh Allen against the all-timer Tom Brady.
Is he really that young? Is he still young?
He's like
He's
26.
He's a young
26?
gun still. Yeah.
Okay. Compared to Tom Brady, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Sorry.
He's still the future, one of the future stars of the league.
What
current
face are you
future
making,
stars. Anyway, I'm going with the young gun to finish off a magical year for the Bills. Josh Allen brings that Lombardi Trophy back to Orchard Park there, and it's wings for everybody.
And tables for everybody to smash, right?
Yeah.
Bills Mafia.
What would be crazier, a Bills Super Bowl parade and party or the Eagles Super Bowl parade and party?
Didn't the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they tried to like grease the
Grease
lamp
the
posts,
light poles.
and
Yep.
people were so they wouldn't climb on them? Honestly, I'd still say the Bills though.
Fair. All right,
Yeah,
what you
the
got,
Bills
Andrew?
just because they haven't had it.
What you got?
This is not honestly. I didn't make this pick beforehand. I couldn't make this pick beforehand, and I'm going back and forth. This is probably going to be one of if this happens this way, Packers Bills. I think it's going to be a Super Bowl for the ages, and it's going to come down to a last second field goal of some sort.
Be different.
You're telling me to choose the Packers since JR chose the Bills? Is that what you're
Be
saying?
different, Andrew. Stop copying everyone and be different.
I mean, who is copying who?
We were both copying each other, honestly, because we didn't
Stop being
show.
a copycat.
Isn't it like when you're like
Different.
copying your friend's notes, but they're also copying
Don't
yours?
make it too obvious.
You know what? I'm gonna stick with my gut. I went into this thinking that it was going to end up being Buffalo. I'm sorry, Aiden. I got to go with my gut. I think it is Buffalo's time. And honestly, it's a little bit of a bias as well because I've always I've considered Buffalo Carolina North because a lot of former Carolina coaches and players go to Buffalo, like their head coach McDermott, and so I kind of had a rooting interest in the Bills for a little bit, just kind of like a slight rooting interest. So I think the Bills finally. I know it's not really an exciting pick because they're considered like the top team in the NFL right now and like the favorites to win the Super Bowl. It's not a crazy pick, but I think it's the right pick. But I think this is going to be a fantastic game if we get to see Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen. And see Josh Allen go up against that Packers defense will be something interesting as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. Our full NFL division, wild card, and playoff predictions. What do you guys think was the spiciest take of all of our predictions? I can go first. I think the spiciest take was JR leaving the Packers out of the playoffs completely. Not even a wild card team.
I think it was the Saints winning the South.
Yeah, I just cannot see any way anybody but the Bucs wins that division. I just don't see it even being close.
That's fair. Football's full of weird things people don't expect.
Which is why I have the Cowboys out of the playoffs.
Speaking of weird things we don't expect, I think there are some picks that could shake some things up for week 1.
Yeah, I don't think Aiden and I have the same picks for week 1. Let's go to week 1.
That's right. We got that to do yet. Oh,
yeah. We'll go through it fairly quickly.
Let's make this quick. Speed round.
Yeah, we'll make this. We won't go too in depth. So what we've decided to do for the NFL season, each week we're going to pick the Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night games that you see listed here. We are also going to take a page out of the Fox NFL pregame segment where they do their lock of the week and an upset pick of the week, or in this case, the underdog. That's why I have a dog picture there. And that could be from any game outside of the 3 games that we're already going to pick from. So I will go quick. Number 1, the Bills will start their run to the Super Bowl with a victory over LA and ruin the Super Bowl banner reveal party.
Bills will win.
Rams 27-17.
Oh, man, he's got a score. Look at him trying to show us up. He's got an actual score.
I did make scores for these.
Ugh.
Bills 28-10.
Yeah, I've got the Bills starting their march to the Super Bowl here too.
All right. Bucks, Cowboys. This will be a fun one as well.
Bucks.
Yeah, we know what Aiden's gonna do. Are you gonna pick them every single week to win?
No,
Are you gonna? Do you want them to go 17? Are you gonna have them go 17-0?
No, I do have some logic, but I don't think the Cowboys have enough, especially week 1, to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And on that note, I had the Cowboys missing the playoffs, and I think it starts with a disappointing week 1 loss to the Bucks.
Boys 31-24.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys get this one. I think, Buccaneers right now, the offensive line's a little bit in disarray. I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this one.
All right. Broncos, Seahawks, the return of Russell Wilson on Monday Night Football.
28-10 Broncos. All 4 passing touchdowns, 3 of them the first half.
Yeah, I think Broncos win this one pretty easily, even being on the road in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's just not that good of a team. Sorry, Broncos.
Let's ride.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was going to be the case for all of us.
I think Seattle's going to be the worst team in the league this year, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be ugly.
I love the fact that they put the Russell Wilson game on Monday Night Football, but honestly, it's not going to be a very entertaining game to watch. Broncos are going to run away
I
with
think
it.
watching him torch the team will be entertaining.
Yeah.
It'll be
All right.
entertaining for
We'll
him.
see. All right,
Locks
so here
of
we
the
go.
week.
Here are our locks of the week. This could be from any game that we haven't already talked about. You can pick your lock from, you can even pick an underdog to be a lock if you wish. Who would like to go first?
I'll take
You know
the
what?
first
I'm
one.
going to go first because both of mine are the same game.
You're going to pick against yourself?
I'm picking my lock as my underdog as well.
No, it's got to
No,
be
you
two
got to do
separates.
two different teams. You got to do two
I
different
got
teams.
two different teams. Damn. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry, I guess I didn't explain the rules.
I thought you said
well
that
enough.
it could be the underdog.
Let me go
one.
first then. Let me.
No,
me
you
pick my
can
lock first.
you can pick an underdog as your lock of the week, but you can't pick the same team twice.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. I've got it.
All right,
Here's your
Aiden,
lock.
the lock.
Your lock: Dolphins over the Patriots -3.5.
All right, well, we're not actually going to use the spread. We're just
No, I
doing
know we're
wins
not
and
using
losses.
the spread,
I
but
know
I'm
you like
saying the
using
spread.
it.
But I'm telling you, Dolphins over the Pats. That's my lock.
For the viewers at home, we are not basing this off the spread. We are going straight win-loss. We're just using the spread as a determination of whether or not someone is an underdog.
And I'm providing it for context.
All right, and Aiden, good. We didn't have the same lock because I have the Baltimore Ravens as a lock over the New York Jets.
I've got the Titans beating the Giants. Titans at home. Feel pretty good about them against the Giants.
All right.
And I'm gonna go Chiefs over Cardinals.
Ooh, we're going against JR's division pick there
I am.
as a lock.
As a lock.
I think the Cardinals are not gonna do anything this year.
All right. It is time for the underdog.
Can I say for last?
Sure.
Yay.
Brendan, go first. Because you already had your underdog.
Week 1, the best rivalry in the NFL for all time, is also one that frequently means nothing. It is the only rivalry where both fan bases legitimately hate each other, not for short periods of time, but as they live and breathe. I think putting Falcons Saints Week 1 was a great move by the NFL schedulers, and I think Marcus Mariota rolls up and torches the Saints defense in Week 1.
Can I just say how much I would love to see that happen?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it will, but I love that you took it. I love that you made that pick.
And because I do score pick, because I didn't have a score pick for the Chiefs ones because I didn't care. 34-28.
Wow, you think their offense is going to be that powerful
I
over
think
that
it's gonna be
Saints
a shootout.
Saints defense?
I think it's gonna be a shootout.
Saints defense is pretty darn
They
good.
are good. They are good. But
You're bold, man. You're
these
bold.
games tend to be weird.
You're bold. All right, I'll go next. So this isn't exactly a huge underdog, but I think they are slept on a little bit. I think they're gonna take a big step forward this year. I don't think they're gonna get to 500 per se, but when you've had the first overall pick the past 2 seasons, there's nowhere to go but up. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Week 1 over the Washington Commanders as the upset pick.
Pretty good one. I actually considered that one on my end, but I'm going with the Vikings as a slight underdog at home against the Packers. They're going to start their run to winning the division right off the bat. Dealing the Packers.
Yeah, if you pick them to win the division, I think you should. That's where you should go to start them off on the right foot. That's why I picked the Bucs over the Cowboys in our earlier game, because I think the Cowboys aren't going to make the playoffs and they start on the wrong foot. So, all right, Aiden, what you got?
So I picked a team to win a division. Yet I think they lose Week 1.
Ooh.
To a team that's got nothing to lose. To a team that's been filled with misery. But they have a hometown boy on defense back on their side. I got the Lions over the Eagles as my underdog pick.
Wow, I like that pick.
Nice.
I like the Lions to be a sneaky good team that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to
I think
be
it's,
They're gonna
a
surprise some
tough.
people.
They're going to be a tough team for people to face.
I think that's just the Hard Knocks effect.
I didn't watch Hard Knocks, so that's not.
No, but it generates a lot of sympathy for people for that much exposure, and I think it'll shift the
Their
public
head
narrative
coach-
their way.
Their head
I love
coach,
their head
I
coach.
love him.
I love him. He's fantastic.
I've loved him
But-
before Hard Knocks. I loved him when he appeared on the Pat McAfee show.
I haven't even seen him on Hard Knocks, and I love him. I loved him before this point. How about this though? Our locks and our underdogs, none of us picked the same teams. How about that?
That's
And
quality.
we didn't pre-plan this either.
I had
So-
another underdog, but I decided to go with this one because I felt like it was more fun.
Okay, what's your other underdog? I'm curious now.
Browns over the Panthers.
I don't know how the Browns are considered the underdog, honestly.
Because
it's in Carolina.
Yeah, that's 3 points.
It's the Jacoby
It's 3
Brissett
points.
effect, I guess.
You see the shirts, the Baker Mayfield shirts.
Well, apparently, according to Baker, he didn't make them. His media team did. He had nothing to do with them.
Sure.
I doubt it. He has to approve them, right?
Oh yeah, he did. He has to play coy. I get it.
Yeah, he's playing coy now, but when the Panthers win Week 1, there you go.
Okay, when
he's gonna explode.
When they won, he's gonna take off his pads, and they're gonna find out he's wearing one of those shirts underneath.
Yeah. He's going to be the person that media wants him to be once he gets his win over the Browns. He's just containing himself right now. Now, here's a question: does he have to retape all of the commercials that he did in Brown Stadium and do them in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte?
Do you think they'll give him back that deal?
What's that?
No chance.
Because he wanted to do a moving out, commercial. And they told him
did?
no. Yeah, they told him
that
no.
would have been so amazing.
I know.
Oh, I want that. I want him to just make it anyway, without them. All right. Well, there are your Week 1 predictions after our season predictions. This is going to be a fun NFL season. I think the last couple of years in the NFL have been some of the best because we don't have runaway this team's guaranteed to make the Super Bowl. Like, we had a lot of disparity with our Super Bowl picks, with our championship picks. And I think that just makes the league better as a whole when you have teams that could win or could lose every week. Minus, I don't know about the Falcons, but I still like them as the upset pick.
I think 7-10, maybe 8-9.
Really?
Wow.
I really do.
You're really aboard the Marcus Mariota hype train.
I've always been a Marcus Mariota fan. I'll continue to be one to the day.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I think Marcus Mariota was a really great pickup for them. The roster's still in a pretty sorry state all around, but I think they got enough to surprise people just like they did last year.
Here's an interesting question. Who do you think finishes with the better record, Lions or Falcons?
Oh, Falcons.
Lions. I'm curious what the other two think. They're just sitting there.
It'll be
Lions.
interesting to watch. Yeah, that's for sure.
JR is avoiding the question. Come on. What do you think?
I think for Aiden's sake, maybe we should.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, that's all we have for today, and I think that was quite enough. That was our NFL season preview for the 2022-2023 season. Look out for us to make more predictions as the weeks go on. We will keep score on those as well as our college picks. Next week, we'll see what topics we come up with. Who knows what'll hit the news wire, but we had to do a predictions episode before the season started for the NFL. We'll have some more topics. Maybe we'll talk about NFL overtime rules like we've hinted at before. I don't know. That's definitely going to be a topic in the future.
NFL award winners?
Maybe we'll talk about award winners. I mean, it might be after week 1, so that might be a little bit cheating, but anyway.
At that point, we'll have a better picture of the MLB playoff, maybe?
Yeah, we can talk, September baseball is an exciting time as my Cardinals just walked off 5 runs in the 5-run comeback from behind. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of Joe's on the Pros, and until next time, we'll see you then.
I'm okay with that. By the way, Aiden's
I'm
literally perfect right now.
Can he talk at all?
That's so perfect.
Can't even. He's. I wonder if he can hear us. Oh wait, he's chatting. Oh no, he just put the games in the chat. Never mind. Well, I was about to start the episode.
That needs to be the intro moment. That needs to be the intro moment. Oh my god. Or at least a blooper or something, because JR held it perfectly.
Y'all ready?
Let's fire this cannon.
Damn.
Yeah!
Am I ever gonna get through this without laughing?
Nope.
Who
Who they?
dey?